Stacy, unmute that. Hey y'all, boom, boom, boom. Hey, let's go. Hey, ha. Hey y'all, it's 5 p.m. somewhere and we are about to chat. We're about to have a conversation. It's some stuff that's about to go down and I'm excited. And it's me. Yay. Come on. Hey, y'all. It's your girl, Coach Q, with 5 p.m. Chatted Up with Coach Q. Oh, my goodness. Here's my deal. Make sure that you have something to drink. Shout out to one of my faithful followers, Mr. Keys. Thank you for my Sunday Fun Day cup as I sip. I probably need a cute straw. So if you got straws, I want to support your small-owned business, and I can be an affiliate for you because we got to put that work out there, don't we, Stacy? Right. So give me a straw. Won't want to. Renee said that's not cute. She's our HR coordinator here. I may end up sipping throughout the day. Ooh, y'all, let me take a deep breath. That's what I want y'all to do. Now, listen. If for some reason, all of a sudden I start sitting like this, I'm not sitting like a lady, can y'all put something in the comments and y'all let Stacy know, tell Coach fix herself. And so, again, I'm excited. Y'all watch the live from earlier. The dress I have on today is from Amazon. It was $33, $34. So, again, I have an Amazon link. I don't know if Stacy has that, but we'll put the Amazon link in the chat because I do have an Amazon link and I'll add this to my page. So if you use this link, we can, let's get some money, y'all. We got to figure out a way to get some money because here's the reality. Your girl is too talented not to be making some change. It's too many of y'all watching and following not to make some change. So I want to say early, Renee, I should have had you get some while you were out, that I'm going to need some tissue because this episode is going to be, it's going to jerk on some things because I'm always honest and transparent, right? I try to be as honest, if you don't mind. It's some paper towel. Well, it's gonna have to be the hood paper towels. Paper towels. I don't have any tissue down here. But I want to be able to have a conversation that you all can relate to, that you all can connect to. So make sure that you're putting your comments and everything here. Hey, Miss Yvonne, how are you? Thank y'all so much for joining. I appreciate it. Jeff, I don't know if you want to turn the screen like you did last week, so that way I'm not. Y'all gonna see my stage manager guy kind of walk in front. Oh, well, he crawled. Because sometimes I'm looking up at the YouTube screen and it can be distracting. And I don't want to be distracted. Hey, Suzette. Hey, Tanya. If y'all don't mind. Oops. Ooh, everything's fine. Y'all see, that's why it's live. Thank you, Stacy. Like, following, and sharing, and all that other stuff. I don't know what I did. Okay. Yeah. Like, following, and sharing. Thank you so much, Renee. She made them all cute and stuff too, y'all, because I would have just balled it up. So today's topic is what is mental wellness, right? Well, the topic is my mental health, mental wellness is not for sale. So we're going to be talking about mental wellness and what that means. You all are going to hear me sigh very often. You're going to hear me take a pause because what I realize is even those that are the strongest, right? We have those moments of compromise where we continue to allow our mental real estate to take on more than it has the capacity for. So normally I'm your go team, go, I'm hype, I'm moving fast, I'm talking fast. I just want to be able to have a conversation and slow down. Okay? So already just thinking about it, even before this topic came, even before the week that I had. And while I won't share the details of my week, everything specifically, I will tell you that, like I told you earlier in the week, I just didn't know which way I was going. And you're talking about an ordained elder, an ordained minister, okay? I'm used to fixing stuff, y'all. I'm used to being that individual that can make it all right. And so many things came this week that I couldn't make all right. And I said, what was the chances of the conversation today being around mental wellness? And what I realized, no matter how much money anybody has to offer us, there is not a price that we can put on our mental health and wellness. And so that goes for jobs. That's our family. That's our relationships, significant others. That's our finances. And so many times we give ourselves away. We give all of who we are. So as I take a step back, what is mental wellness? Mental wellness is an internal resource that helps us think, feel, connect, and function. It is an active process that helps us to build resilience, grow, and flourish. So when we concentrate on our wellness, the mental state of being, it helps us think and feel and connect and function. When we're not mentally well, it compromises our ability to think. Would y'all in the room agree, right? Mm-hmm. You can't focus. You begin to react out of the emotion that is no longer balanced, right? And so those who are tuning in, I promise you, I do want to pause again. Please share the live because I know this is going to be helpful. And the reason I say it, and my heart friend, I call her Renee all the time. Jeff even said it from a mic perspective. God has gifted me with encouragement, empowerment, because I feel it deep. And so if I'm not well, my ability to think through and feel and connect and function is going to be compromised, which means that the resiliency, meaning the ability to bounce back now from stressors, is compromised, and it will be a prohibitor to my ability to grow and flourish. And we have to realize that our growth is connected to others. How we flourish is connected to others. And so if you're taking notes at home, like it's one of those podcasts, y'all see me and stuff. So if you're taking notes at home, there's 4 dimensions of mental wellness, again, that I've talked about. Thinking, which is your mental dimension. So again, we're talking about mental wellness, but again, 4, if we compartmentalize it, thinking is the mental dimension. Okay? Just how you think. Take a moment and pause. And if you don't mind even sharing in the comments, something that may have went on this week that compromised your ability to think clearly. Did somebody cut you off on the road? Did your children act up? You know, was it a situation with your significant other, husband, wife, girlfriend, whomever, right? Was it the job? Was it friendships? But that's the mental dimension. Right? So again, mental wellness, just because we're talking about that doesn't mean that it's just mental. Connecting is the second quadrant I want to talk about. And connecting is your social dimension. Right? And so even though it's a serious topic, I want to make sure that y'all are still engaged. So, as I say something and you can relate to it, just share it. So connecting is your social dimension. When you are not well, you don't connect the same. Everybody in your space begins to be impacted because your mental wellness isn't right. All right. I was a single mom for 18 years and my sons, I call Jockey Bishop, I call Unique Seer. I would come home sometime and I would see them shushing because my day at work, y'all, was so rough. It was so rough that by the time I got home, they couldn't say anything. You would begin to snap, right? You begin to react. You didn't want anybody to talk to you. And so my mental wellness wasn't stabilized. And so therefore it affected my social dimension, my ability to connect with my children. And so frustration came out of that. And when you begin to think about mental wellness, it's a process that we must engage in proactively. It's not a static state of being. And so it's not a place that we're just going to arrive to, y'all. You got to proactively continue to work on it. You have to. And so that's why somebody can be okay one minute and not okay the next. When Renee got here, I started talking to her. I said, yesterday I was in a dark place. And she's like, she did a double take. Like, what? Not that I was immune from being in a dark place, but she's like, wait, we just celebrated 5 years. Like, you just did cheer one. You did all this stuff. Like, we walked. What happened? And it's sometime in our silence that this compromise begins to take place, so it can affect you. And so what I've learned to do that I never did for years, y'all, and again, comment, I never did for years, is I didn't tell people when I wasn't okay, because there's a stigma associated with it, right? There's a stigma associated with you being strong and not being okay. And so people think you bounce back and forth, but I'm at the place like I don't care anymore. If I'm not okay, I'm just not okay. And it's easy for me to tell you, girl, get through it. No, it's hard. It's hard. But the more we converse about it, the more we normalize those things. So the first quadrant was thinking, which is our mental dimension. The second quadrant was connecting, which is our social dimension. The third quadrant I want to talk about is feeling, which is our emotional dimension. Am I the only one be like, I feel some kind of way? And normally those of us who start feeling some kind of way is because there's already a struggle in this mental arena. There's already a compromise in our mental wellness. And so therefore we start feeling some kind of way. Because I'm picking up this vibe from you, this making me feel some kind of way. And what happens is, instead of me having a conversation about it, instead of me talking through it, I hold it in. Because now, instead of me helping myself, I want to protect your feelings. And then so what happens is I carry this, and then when I encounter someone else and something happens, what happens is it begins to pile up. And then we have an outbreak. And then we crazy. And then we the ones. And the fourth dimension is the functioning dimension, the psychological dimension. Right? We got to function because we got real jobs. We got kids. We got spouses. We got followers. We got students. We have colleagues that we have to continue to be well for. Like when I was a single mother, I didn't have an opportunity not to be well. I always had to be together. Nobody talked about mental wellness then. Nobody talked about mental health then. So when we think about COVID and COVID-19 in that time, God says that all things will work together for the good, right? And so even what the world or the enemy meant for bad ended up being good, because what it did was bring those of us in certain ethnicities out of the closet saying, hey, I am not mentally well. Now, all of us had that cousin that we knew was loopy. And y'all ain't got to agree, but we can put their names in the comments. Don't, but I'm just saying we could. All of us had that cousin that was a little loopy. And they stayed with Big Mama or Auntie, and we was like, if Cousin James had probably gotten the help that he needed, Cousin James probably wouldn't be sitting loopy, smoking half a Newports in a big pile on the step, right? And what happens is we could be Cousin James. And seriously, behind closed doors, we are Cousin James. So I'm just going to take like a deliberate 15-second pause. And I want you to think about those moments where you could have sat in Indian style on the floor and just escaped into a hole in the floor because really life was coming down on you. Today's discussion is about how do we manage our mental wellness? How do we not compromise? There's some things that push against who we are and we sell our peace. So again, I'm going to take that deliberate 10-second pause. So one of my team members put on the board, they said, when a car breaks down, what is the first thing that goes? Was that it? Show me again, Renee. When our cars break down, what is the first thing we do? When our cars break down, what is the first thing we do? We go get it serviced. We go get it serviced. We can't, because guess what? When our car runs out of gas, and listen, if you've ever run out of gas, just give me a thumbs up somewhere. All of us. When we've ever ran out of gas, because we think we can keep going. If I can just go a little bit further. If I can just go one more day. But this conversation is saying right where you are right now, don't go one more day. Don't go one more minute. Talk to somebody. And it may not be a clinical therapist. It may not be a clinical psychologist. But it could be in this 5 minutes that I said, Renee, listen, I was in a dark place. Or it may be when I was in service, my bestie in Hawaii, who's 6 hours behind us, for me to verbally say, and we've been friends for years. There was times I would never share this because what are they going to say about me? I don't care. I don't want somebody standing over me saying she was such a nice person. I would have never known. Because y'all, with this stress and all this stuff that we're overwhelmed at, comes sickness. So mental wellness is more than just the absence of mental illness. And see, that's the piece that is so monumental that I want all of you to walk away with. Again, if you're just tuning in, I'm your girl, Coach Q, with Chat It Up with Coach Q. Every Sunday, 5 p.m., we're here having everyday conversations about the ish that we as adults go through. All right? Black, white, Chinese, Asian, whatever you are, we all struggle because we all have a mind. All right? Whether we're willing to admit it or not. But we got to get to the place where we understand just because I'm not medicated or just because I don't have a diagnosed illness, mental illness, doesn't mean I'm mentally well. So let me give you an example. When you think about mental wellness, a description, mental wellness and mental illness, they're on separate axles, right? Two separate continuums. They're on two different ends. And so when you begin to think about what's going on, mental wellness spectrum, you're flourishing, you're growing, you're functioning. When you're mentally well, is an easy flow. High mental illness. That's, there are some individuals that have to have that extra support because of mental illness situations, right? And then there's low to no mental illness that can still anxiety. I mean, I can't hear y'all. Only thing you can do if you can relate is put a thumbs up, put something in the comments or whatever. Hey, Antoinette, how are you? Y'all, low to no mental illness, or that space of low, that spectrum that I don't want y'all to ignore, is when you worry, you're sad, you're stressed, there's anxiety, loneliness, you become disengaged, how you're just there. And people can know that you're not even there. And have you ever pretended? You know how you pretend to be okay? That's the hardest thing. Because people who know you see it and they should be able to feel it. Mental wellness is an active process of moving from languishing to resilience to flourishing. So on one level, mental wellness is about prevention, coping with life adversity, and being resilient when we face stress, worry, loneliness, anger, and sadness. On another level, mental wellness moves us toward a deeper, richer, more meaningful human experience. So y'all hear me? The reason this was so important, it wasn't enough for me to say, okay, I'm not worrying, I'm not depressed, I'm not sad, but that doesn't mean that I'm flourishing. That doesn't mean that I'm in a place of even flow. And remember what I mentioned earlier, if you were on, it isn't stagnant. Mental wellness isn't a destination necessarily. You always have to be moving, making iterations. Why? Because ish happens in our life that throws us off our horse. Right? I had my little cute little polka dot Leave It to Beaver dress on. I got my fresh retwist. So I was determined I ain't going to look like what I'm going through. But the engine in that car, with the example that even Renee gave earlier asking about, if that engine ain't right, that oil going to begin to leak. Right? There's going to be some fumes that come out of that car. What it means to flourish is subjective and it's personal. And it is shaped by individual values, culture, religion, and benefits or beliefs. For one person, it can mean functioning at the top of their game and achieving their life goals, while for another, it may mean it may be just self-awareness. So me being aware can be enough, y'all. Me being aware, me paying attention, me acknowledging that I'm not okay. Now, we do have some information available that we'll put in the comments, and we'll even put in the on our YouTube page and in our notes where you can call if you need help. There are numbers you can call. And we don't want it to be us because we feel like, again, we're not crazy. But I'm not talking about mental illness. I'm talking about mental wellness. And it's not for sale. We stay in relationships because we don't want to be alone. Because we feel like we can help and we can fix and we can change people just a little bit longer. And guess what? We find ourselves spinning in circles because we're like, what am I missing? What am I not doing? My mental wellness isn't dependent on what you can do for me. Your mental wellness isn't dependent on what somebody else can do for you. It is dependent upon, first and foremost, that you are aware that it is something that you have to give attention to. And so again, I'm not a clinical psychologist, even though I do have a master's degree in human service counseling and executive leadership. Yes, but I'm not clinical. What I am here to tell you is we've been slow walked. Because again, we think because we're not mentally ill that we are mentally well. That's a misconception. So it's not like it's two opposite ends of the spectrum. No, their compartment is a whole different continuum. Mental wellness is over here and it has its own spectrum. Mental wellness helps to shift the perspective away from stigma to shared humanity. Because if you tell somebody, think about it, you meet somebody and you start talking to them and you say, I'm mentally ill. How many of us still going out? Yeah. Stacy, maybe? No. Renee? Jeff? If they come up to you, they banging, but they was like, hey, so what's going on? They were like, I'm mentally ill. Nobody is. However, how many of us, once we get to know, well, how many of us can tell people like my concentration is my mental wellness? Yeah, you take medicine, mental wellness doesn't, it's a stigma. We associate so much. And that's why we have blow-ups. All of us can name that friend or two that'll blow up on social media. But there is a 24/7 crisis hotline. You can text it. What is it? 988? And again, I know that ain't you. No, I'm kidding. I know that is you. Whoever you is. Right? So even though the mental health field has done a lot of work to mitigate the stigma surrounding mental illness, a sense of shame, denial, secrecy continues to afflict people in communities and cultures around the world. Mental wellness can help shift our focus toward a more positive and empowering approach. How we can feel, think, connect, and function better rather than just avoiding or coping with illness. It emphasizes our capacity to build resilience, to reduce suffering, to find inner peace and joy, and seek meaning, purpose, and connection. A universal longing shared by all people. All of us just want to connect. All of us just want inner peace and joy. And because of the capacity, because of the world, because of all the stuff that takes place, we struggle. We struggle. We struggle. So again, if you're just joining us, I'm your girl, Coach Q, with Chat It Up with Coach Q. And today's episode talks about my mental health / wellness is not for sale. Meaning there's no price that can be paid. There's no job that can pay enough. If it's causing you sleepless nights, if it's causing you anxiety, if you be like, oh my gosh, it's Sunday and I got to go back in there tomorrow. That means you put a price tag on your health, your mental health. Understanding that that affects everything. Everything. Mental wellness grows out of a grassroots, consumer-driven movement. People desperately need non-clinical strategies to cope with everyday mental and emotional challenges, like stress. As I begin to name these things and you fall there, let us know. Let us know. Just put a thumbs, put a comment. So again, non-clinical strategies to cope with stress, burnout, loneliness, sadness, heartbreak, disappointment, insecurities. Now I'm going to give y'all a little secret, or maybe not. Evidence shows that improving our mental wellness can even reduce our risk of developing mental illness. Y'all hear me? Concentrating on coping and identifying and talking about. If you're sad, talk about it. None of us want to be categorized as depressed, but depression happens because we think depression is just sitting in a dark room, not wanting to get out of the bed, not wanting to shower, not wanting to change our clothes, and that's not it. Mental illness / health, mental wellness, mental illness / health versus mental wellness / well-being. So mental illness, there's clinical care, right? Stigma of isolation, scientific. When you talk about mental wellness, you've been hearing people self-care, right? We're empowered. We got shared humanity, personal and subjective. Mental illness is scientific and objective. Mental wellness is personal and subjective. It's not a simple continuum from mental illness to wellness. Mental illness and wellness can coexist. Mental wellness can mitigate mental illness. And many times when we're overwhelmed and we don't really take a moment to focus on those things that matter the most, we'll find ourselves exhausted. Can't sleep at night. Toss and turn at night. But in other moments of comfort, we can't stay up. Mental wellness is multidimensional, holistic, and personal. And after I hit these last few points, I'm going to, we're going to do some engagement, okay? Mental wellness, as I mentioned, is multidimensional, holistic, and personal. Mental wellness recognizes the integrated and holistic nature of our health and well-being. The state of our mind affects our body and vice versa. Sometimes when our circumstances change, we need to adopt new practices or strategies to handle stress, improve resilience, and deal with adversity. Y'all hear that? I reviewed this information and it just hit me. It just hit me. My life has changed a lot since Derek transitioned to heaven. It's changed a lot. And so the things that I used to do to manage my stress or my sadness, I don't have available anymore. You know, or I may not do anymore. And so now there's other things that we have to do. So I do have a therapist. I have a clinical therapist. I don't have a psychiatrist where, you know, they're diagnosing or prescribing medication or anything. It's just a therapist, so he can help me talk through things that I'm doing, that I'm dealing with. And so I want to share, there was a study done that talked about different strategies. And one is connecting with people, being around people. Sometimes we want to be by ourselves, but actually pulling your girls together, pulling your guys together, pulling whoever that group is together and talking about the stuff that y'all dealing with and making room for other people to share. That's deep, Renee and Stacy, now that I think about it. Like, when the last time you and your girlfriends have pulled up and, like, instead of going out to eat, we're going to make something, we're going to sit around, we're going to talk about the stuff that we're going through. We're not looking for people to solve it. My therapists don't try to solve my stuff. They let me talk through it and say, what are some things you consider? Or what are some things you feel like on work? Remember, I call it the drive-through strategy. They hear us and they'll say, like, what I hear you saying is, and when you hear that, it helps position it. We got to eat and we got to be nourished. A lot of times we're dealing with stress. I know some people stressfully eat, but there's times that we're not getting the nourishment that we need, which causes our mind and body to be fatigued, which then causes a distraction that prohibits our ability to think. And now we're in our feelings, like I mentioned to you. Now we've went over to emotions. And so now people don't want to deal with us. And believe me, we're not fooling anybody. People know, like, all of us got that friend. Uh-oh, here they go again. Here he go again. So pathways to mental wellness. Activity and creativity. Find something. Knit, sew, crochet, walk. Renee and I have a therapy session every Friday. Every Friday. We're gonna get that hour and a half of therapy. And most of the time we balance it. You know, it's like tennis. We balance it back and forth. And there are some times it is more one way than the other. And that's okay. But create room for activity and creativity around balancing our mental wellness. Growth and nourishment. Making sure that you have those individuals that can speak to you and you to them, that they can water seeds. It's this book called The Seed, Finding Purpose and Happiness in Life and Work by John Gordon, which is a great book. And it really talks about, in order for you to get out of life what you want, there has to be some seeds planted and watered. So a lot of times we're looking to get some things out of something that we don't have. We can't get money out of our bank account if there's none there. There has to be a deposit. And so there should be people in your life, y'all, that you're not only feeding to, but they can pour into you. And I love the times that I can be on the chair and somebody's pouring into me because I know my gift of pouring. And then, like I said, rest and rejuvenation. So sometimes we can't even rest. Have you been so tired and sleepy you can't sleep? Stacy said, "No, she ain't never been so tired and sleepy that she can't sleep. She can always sleep. She goes to sleep. I can go to sleep and my mind is running. I get up and I'm like, there's so much on my mind. My alarm clock can be set and I'm still waking up like I'm gonna miss it. And it's set, it goes off. Connection and meaningful relationships. We got to stop letting people drain us. Now, this is about to get deep. I want to get away from my mic for a second. Don't do me, Stacey. Oh, that was Renee. Well, there you go. And it's a whole cup for y'all. It's just icy.
Miss Connie says thank you for pouring into her.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Miss Connie. I appreciate that comment. Y'all, this is what I want to say. Y'all ready? Those the closest to us can drain us. And those are normally the people that drain us the most. We ain't going nowhere. We still love them. Like, we ain't just going to ship our children off. We ain't going to ship our significant other off. But guess what, y'all? They can drain us. And we can't take care of ourselves because we're giving so much of ourselves to someone else. And guess what? They're sleeping at night. And so what I really think about me, and I remember Derek used to always say, AKA Cage, rest in heaven. He'd be like, she can't finish something before she starts something else. And that's true because, sometimes we keep going because we're trying to camouflage the loudness of everything else that's going on. And there's moments that we just need to sit in it and take a moment. Like, I remember journaling. I'm like, who's going to journal? But what it does is help you get everything out. It helps you be able to see everything. And so this week I had to write down stuff that was, and before I know it, I was flipping a paper. And I said, oh my goodness, this is all the stuff that I'm dealing with that I'm going through. So y'all, 2019, there was a survey done. And this is from the Global Wellness Institute and was published in 2020. $120.8 billion went into mental wellness. So if y'all notice, a lot more organizations are allowing people to take leave for mental wellness. It's not as, I think 2020, probably through 2022, it was a lot easier. After that, they started having to check up on us because y'all start like taking these little breaks, and then you in a nail shop. Then we all in Florida and stuff talking about our mental wellness. I'm just saying they can't tell me how to get well, but y'all know what I mean, right? That's what was happening. So these employers was like, this short term for this 8 weeks, I ain't gonna keep praying you to go to the DR. You know what I'm saying? Get your tummy all right and stuff like that. But in all seriousness, $128 billion. So let me break it down. 33.6 billion went into self-improvement. Right? Meditation and mindfulness. I know my organization has that, 2.9 billion. $49.5 billion in the space of people just can't sleep apnea. All this different stuff is going on in their minds. 34.8 billion in nutrition and botanicals and whatever it takes to help boost our brains because we tired. We're tired. We got so much going on, y'all. But I told you about those 4 dimensions. Oh, I shut my computer. Let me recap those 4 dimensions real quick. For those just joining, thank you so much. Please don't forget to like, share, follow, and subscribe. And also Again, if you want to be an affiliate, if you have a product or something that you would like for Chat It Up with Coach Q to advertise, keep in mind, y'all, I'm this close to 1 million followers. So go ahead and like, share with your cousin and them so they can go ahead and follow me as well so we can get to that 1 million. So here's what the 4 categories: thinking, which is your mental dimension; connecting, which is your social dimension; feeling, which is your emotional dimension; functioning, which is your psychological dimension. And some of us can't even function because our thinking has been distracted. And we can't connect with nobody because we're so temperamental. And our emotions are all over the place. So we don't know what we feel, how we feel, and should we feel. And then we go to try to fix it or try to dress it up. Then it becomes now insincere. And then we have these outbursts and these lash outs at the people that we care about. And so I challenge y'all today, take a step back. Take a step back and challenge yourself, first of all, the people that live with you, the people that care about you the most. I want you to take a moment and take a step back and make sure that you're being thoughtful of how you interact with them. God must have known this is time that I needed to kind of reposition myself. This is the longest I've been without Jordan. It'll be 6 weeks. And so I just can't wait. Like, nobody's looking forward to taking a 10-hour flight, but I'm eagerly ready, okay, bring it on. I can't wait to see him and hug him. And Minister Karen said today in church, y'all, they said, "Hey, Unique, my son is watching. Hey, son. Hey, Unique. Hey, Jersey girl." That she was like, "Shoot, Jordan that's your guy." But even I needed to know that, to give him his space. I hear you. Is it La Familia Lugo? She says, yes, I need to learn to set boundaries with certain family members so they stop draining me. Again, y'all ain't got to call them family member names, but if you can relate to that, throw me up a reaction. Put in the notes. Say, yep, that's me, that's me, that's me. That's me. If that's you. Again, today's topic was that my mental health and mental wellness is not for sale. It isn't. How I interact and what I decide to do, it has to do with me. When it comes to your mental wellness, be selfish. Because it's going to impact you. There is so much of this world that is on prescription medication. We don't have to go far to count CVS's. I drove from one end of Jefferson Avenue down to the other end, and I'm like, there's CVS and Walgreens. And that's like, talk about the mom and pop pharmacies. There's one at Patient First. There's one at the pharmacies, Centera. There's pharmacies everywhere because we want to medicate our emotions. We want to medicate what we're going through. Because what we do, we encourage people, talk to me, talk to us. But then when we do, we may use that same information against them. Or when people truly tell you how they feel, or even how you make them feel, we get defensive. But sometimes all we need to do is be heard. And we got to make room for other people to be heard. Heard. All of us need that friend that will just listen. Just listen. Now, I'm going to tell y'all a little something. Don't tell his friend. Okay? I am going to share her name, but she would have to watch the podcast to hear me say her name. But this friend is a great listener. I mean, will listen, comfort you. But lately, and I don't know, maybe I let this friend open up, and lately this friend just is chatty. Her name Renee Sales. Listen, I was like, Renee is the best listener, y'all. She is the best listener. But I guess Renee says, shoot, it's my turn too. You listen. And so we are like that iron sharper than iron. That's why I call it my heart friend. And so you got to be okay with having friends that fall into different categories for what you need. There's no doubt that Katrina and Sharika are my besties. That my sister, Tara, oh my gosh, I can always call and get the encouragement I need from her. Minister Karen, my armor bearer, She probably knows everything about me. And yet there's no measurement or capacity in what these individuals, and there's a lot others out there, right? But I just use them that there's no competing. They're different quadrants. They all give me different things, and I'm different to each of them. Find your support group. Find somebody who's going to be honest and tell you the truth. So sometimes we're too nice because we're trying to spare somebody's feelings until we get upset. So y'all, I just want to now open it up to just some conversation. What's on your mind? What questions? I don't see any comments. Maybe y'all are just listening attentively. But I just want to have a conversation. Like, what else is going on?
Well, Dante is commenting. He says to use your job benefits. Make sure that you utilize those benefits at your job, as many positions, offer EAP benefits. So that's what they're there for, to utilize those. And also, if you do believe in the Lord, you cannot make everything okay. God does that for you, and it is okay to not be okay.
It's okay not to be okay. So thank you so much, Dante. Shout out to my bae. EAP. That's it. Thank you. Renee worked at Human Resources. EAP, y'all, they're our benefits. And that's the other thing. Thank you so much. I worked for the organization who remain nameless. I worked for years. I wouldn't even go out. I'm so anxious to get back. Last year was the first year that I took an 8-week leave, and y'all, I needed it. Now the 8 weeks flew. Okay. But I needed it. And so I want to open it up, and I want to ask questions. Do y'all, if you cry, do you feel like that's weak? If you cry about what's going on, do you feel like that's weak, or that a person shouldn't cry? Yes or no? Do y'all feel like it's okay to cry? Maybe it's the bigger question. Is it okay to cry? Is it okay to cry?
So Karen is saying, yes, it's okay. She also put here that a support group is sometimes needed. Miss Connie says that she cries all the time. It's a way to release, your depression, anxiety, and whatever else you have going on, your stress. It is a way to release. So yes, it is definitely okay to cry, whether female or male. Whether male or female, it is okay to cry.
I like it.
It's actually healthy.
It is healthy to cry then, y'all. And it is to release some things. Sometimes I'm crying. And y'all know the guys, they don't really like us cry. Like, what you crying for? I just cry. And then, not that this conversation is about me, but listen, since I'm here, I'm my guest. Hey, Quada. Hey, girl. Hey, coach. Hey, Quada. Now, if I get to that. How many of you like to be in control? Who like to be in control? Stacy raised her hand. Renee raised her hand. Just like to be in control. We just we gotta run stuff. We gotta be in control. And y'all, I promise there's some situations, again, that occurred this week that I'm like, I couldn't control. I couldn't do anything about it. But those of us who have a relationship with our Lord and Savior, we know that He has it. And sometimes it's easier said than heard. Do you ever get tired just of being even that person? Like sometimes I'm like, I just get tired of just being that person. However, me being that person gives me strength and joy. Remember, I talked about that connection earlier. It helps with my mental wellness. Renee over here fighting that fly. Y'all, we in this room, and that fly is going, I'm watching that fly go. Renee is swatted. It'll go past Stacy's head, and then Jeff is getting it. But it ain't been over here. So if y'all see it in the wall, it's because there's one fly. And if we open the door, like, I wish he could go out. It's that one fly he got in. I don't know how he got in. He just keep messing with people, right? So y'all, what else is going on? Stacey, you have some other stuff?
Yes, Miss Connie has a question. She wants to refer to setting boundaries, and she's asking how do you believe is the best way to set boundaries when it comes to your grown children?
Miss Connie, don't be trying to get in my business and stuff. I don't even know if Unique still watching. No, I'm teasing. Like, how do we set boundaries, right? This is a conversation. So, y'all, I don't have all the answers. So, we want to set boundaries for our grown children. But sometimes you think, if not us, who? Right, Jeff? Like, Renee say no. Say no, clearly. Like, we can say no, period, in our mind. Jeff, do you say no all the time? If your kids call you, your bonus kids, are you saying no? Not often. Not often. Even though we'll fuss all day long, right, y'all? About this, that, and the other.
We have to say no.
We have to learn to say no. And then the other thing is, Miss Connie, Unique, hey, Michelle. Unique, I ain't telling your business, but y'all know before I had Jordan, Unique is my baby. He was my youngest son. And everybody used to always say, oh, I'll just let Unique get away. Unique, my seer, my overseer, my every, And Unique was getting a little mature, right? And I would tell Unique, clean his room and, get his stuff together and do this. And you walk past that room. Y'all know how y'all got to, and not a 30-year-old man room, but, 19, 20, 21. And, coming in and out your house thinking when they want to. And it got to the point I was like, oh, yo, you got to go. And, they think you playing. But I was like, you have to go. Where they going to go? At the time, rest his soul, my son's father, Larry, he was alive. He could go. But Unique still thought I was playing till he came to my house and his room had been switched around to my office. I threw everything out. So, and then I ain't gonna lie, I be like, feel bad. Like, he okay? Y'all like, is he okay? That's my baby. But what that did was taught Unique. I'm not telling y'all to throw your kids out. I'm not telling you not be there for somebody. But it taught them, and it's what I needed. It's what I needed. Because people get comfortable with you. And what happens is, I had an old manager, her name was Anisha. She was like, you have to train people how to treat you. And sometimes we like, ooh, that's rough. We train animals. We get training for our job. McDonald's and Burger King make their burgers the same way when they train them, right? And so we got to train people how to treat us. We do. We have to train people how to treat us. And so sometimes people just don't know how. They're not even treating us right. They're not treating us right. And it's because we let them. We let them. And then a lot of times, y'all, we put so much pressure on people. Like, they can't be our God. Oh, man, they can't be our God. And we want them to be. So, Miss Connie, to answer your question, Renee just put 2 letters on the board. She says no, say no. And that, again, that's easier said than done. What other questions, Stacy?
Sexy Lady Byrne on YouTube, thank you for your interaction today. She says, you have to let your grown kids just be grown. Give them advice and recommendations. However, they have to make their final decisions. Guide them, but don't baby them. It's hard, but it works.
Thank you so much. Y'all heard it from Sexy herself, okay? So we can guide them. And that's what I've learned to do even recently with my oldest son. Because I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to do whatever I have to do. And guess what? They figure it out. They figure it out. They really, really do. So y'all, again, the topic today was my mental health. My mental wellness is not for sale. Family, relationships, jobs, businesses, tribes and vibes is not for sale. And again, deal with your whatever's going on, acknowledge it and deal with it. So that way it doesn't be, excuse me, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not thrown off then on somebody else. I don't know how many want to admit it, like I'm talking in the room, but like if you have an argument with your significant other, we're going to use that, or issue. Everything that comes behind that affects you. Like, can't nothing affect your mood quicker than your kids and your spouse, your boo. I'm just gonna say boo. Because when those things aren't right, everything gets thrown off. So there's some parts of our life that has more of an impact of our mood than others, but we got to be able to control it, y'all. I really hope that our conversation today was helpful. My ask, hey Toya, I hope you're enjoying your vacation. My ask is that you put your mental wellness at the top of your list. And remember, just because you are not mentally well doesn't mean you're mentally ill. Again, two different continuums. They're two different areas. They're not on the same spectrum. Okay? But our mental wellness has to be our priority. Because if not, those of us who are blessed for our date behind our dash to be longer away, we ain't trying to have a whole bag full of pills. And y'all, it's so exhausting. Having disagreements with the people that we care about the most. I don't like, I was like, me and my kids, it was the three of us. Unique, Jockey, and me. Bishop, Overseer, and me. And when they got older, and, they at the point where they got their girlfriends and their children and all that, and now you just, now you be like, why you beefing? You like having beef, and you don't want to do that. I am not confrontational. I do not like arguments and all of that. Jeff is giving me something. I don't like all of that. Support. Oh, all right. That's a good point. Thank you, Jeff. So I do have another referral. Stacy, this is probably something you'll need, and I'll hand it to you. But our veterans out there, support our veterans. The hotline number is 1-800-273-8255. 1-800-273-8255, and you'll press option 1. So any veterans out there, again, there's help, because a lot of us, again, deal with things in our mind, and our mental wellness has to be our priority. So y'all, again, thank you for all your questions. I'm just going to begin to call people out that I see, at least on my page now. I'm live over there and on this phone, so I can't see everything. So I don't see the scroll like in the comments like Stacy does, who's logged in under her. But I see Toya. I see Big Sis Cookie. Hey, Miss Bev. Hey, y'all. Thank you so much, Stacy. I see Miss Gill says, great point. Struggles are mainly with issues that cannot be resolved, and recognizing that they cannot be. Some things can never be redone or rediscussed. That's interesting. Certain things cannot be redone or rediscussed. So sometimes we try to solve and fix stuff. And we got to be okay with disagreements, y'all. All right. So again, we're a couple of minutes out. Thank you for your time today. It was so refreshing. And remember, after this conversation, if you need somebody to talk to, there's some information that we put in the chat. We'll try to put in the commentary once we edit the live. It'll be on the YouTube page. Even if you've been here, if y'all could go all over to Chat It Up with Coach Q, Stacy or someone will put the link in the comments. Go over there, like, view it, subscribe, share. Even if you got to share it back to your Facebook page. And what we'll look to do is find ways that we can incentivize people who will go to YouTube and come back and share the episodes. A quick public service announcement. As you know, like I said, I'll be leaving for Hawaii on Thursday to pick up Jordan. Yay. And so I'll be on my flight back to Virginia Sunday. And that's something, y'all. A quick trip. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I won't get back here until Monday. But next week episode is going to air on next Saturday. And it's going to air from Hawaii. Okay? It's going to air from Hawaii. And it's going to talk about, I forget the topic. What was the topic in the notes, Renee? What was the topic in the chat? I put it in the chat. I think our little group chat. Yeah, go in our chat and tell me if somebody has it. Because my time, I probably got about 30 seconds. You see it? It should be at the top. It's like, I know it's something about friendship.
Friendship.
Yeah.
True power of friendship.
The true power of friendship.
The true power of friendship.
The true power of friendship. And so, whatever that may be. All right, y'all. Again, it's been fun. I'm your girl, Coach Q. We're chatting up with Coach Q. Again, if you're on YouTube, you hear those hand claps. Like, share, follow, subscribe. And we're going to be out here. I forgot to say it. My mic sound nice. Check one. My mic sound nice. Check two. Hey, are you ready? Good day. Hey, hey. You can hit mute. Here we go. Ooh, child.